Parker Institute today is not as it was initially.
Parker started in 1907 for destitute homeless.
Parker started in the city around the turn of the century.
In 1914, Parker expanded its resources to include geriatrics. It became the Harlem House, which was prior to becoming the Daughters of Israel.
At the Home and Hospital of the Daughters of Israel, it was a small facility originally, and it became clear to the trustees that they were unable to meet the needs of the older individuals to whom they were providing care. They made the very provocative decision that they were going to leave their location in the city and move to Long Island.
In 1972, they left Fifth Avenue and they moved down the Long Island Expressway in one long caravan and a long line. And they arrived at their brand new facility. At that time, it was JICSI, the Jewish Institute for Geriatric Care, before Mr. Parker donated money, and it became the Parker Institute.
Subsequently, a few years later, the trustees looked for a medical director and they decided that Con Foley was pretty good, and so I've been the medical director at Parker now for many years. In fact, I've been at Parker for 40 years. An incredible, wonderful experience.
I never met, but heard of the long-serving CEO, a gentleman by the name of David Glazer, who really started the organization at this location and built upon many programs.
Parker initially had residents who were not as dependent or as frail as the patients today. We had what was called a sheltered workshop. We had a little industrial complex. They worked and earned their own money.
When I first went on the board, this was strictly a nursing home. And it evolved when David Glazer was the CEO here. I think it was his vision to see that Parker became a rehabilitation center.
The programmatic development of programs for older individuals at Parker really started with the recognition that individuals who were receiving care at Parker at the time, that many of them, if we began to work with their families and with services in the community, could probably be returned to home. That was how subacute care started here at Parker. This was shattering, that a nursing home was discharging patients back to the community. Unheard of.
Care has changed because the residents have changed. Part of our history is that we see ourselves as an innovator, so very much we try to stay a little bit ahead of the curve. We try to scan the field, look for innovations, look for what's new, and try to bring those things back here to our staff.
When I arrived at Parker, we started doing a lot of renovation work, and now over the last 10 years, we've really modernized the organization.
Parker has a special team of individuals dedicated to research. There are very few such facilities in this country.
I don't think that the Parker that we see today is going to be the Parker of the future. It's a name that's known in the industry throughout the United States for its progressiveness.
And it's a beautiful story. Every person should know where and what this came from.
I was in the training program even before I graduated in the summer of 1970, and I saw this place being built. I've been there ever since. That's like almost 46 years ago.
Everyone has been so kind to Parker, and I wouldn't want to be anyplace else.
Our residents do actually go to Parker, then they come back, in awe of the nursing home world and how complex and different and unique it is. And a lot of that comes from Dr. Foley and what he teaches them and shows them, and the great work he's done. Under Dr. Foley's tutelage, Parker is different than all other nursing homes.
I first met Dr. Foley when I came to Parker in 1999. Over time, we began to collaborate. He's very accessible, loves to teach and mentor folks.
Dr. Foley, I love him. I think he is the finest young doctor. Well, to me, he's young. I'll be 93. I am 102 years old. He was downstairs in the auditorium, and he was dancing with people. I said, oh my goodness, I like that man.
I never forget that when my wife passed away, say, I'm sorry for your wife. He's a very, very friendly doctor.
I first met Con Foley in 1980, on the day I started. I was impressed by his knowledge, I was impressed by his expertise, I was impressed how he would get down on his knees and talk to the patients, and I was genuinely impressed by how much he cared.
I've been at Parker for 22 years.
I've been at Parker for 12 years.
For the past 15 years.
For 19 years.
For 38 years.
for 39 years.
For almost 46 years.
I am Con Foley, and I have been working proudly at Parker for 40 years.